Okay, welcome you guys. I am so excited for today. I have a girl that I just absolutely love, and I think she has one of the biggest hearts, and she's just an amazing person. She's actually in my ward. I haven't seen her in forever though because of everything that's going on, but I have heard bits of her story and it's amazing, and I am so excited. I totally like honestly just spaced. And then she reached out to me and she's like, wait, what are you doing with all these videos? I'm like, oh my gosh, like totally. If you want to, I would love for you to come and share your story. And of course, she agreed and said yes. So I'm so excited for you guys to hear her story today. So I have Jori with me right now, and I will go ahead and turn the time over to her.
Hi, guys. Well, I can't thank you enough. I can't believe I missed some of the posts you were saying. And I was like, wait, she's interviewing a birth mom for what? I was like, I want to know. I want to share. So, yeah, I've always been connected to adoption because I'm two parts of the adoption triad. I am an adoptee and I'm also a birth mom.
I love it. Yes. Sorry. I keep myself
You're
muted.
fine.
You're good. No, yes. And I love it. So I will let you go. Go ahead and tell all sides, whatever sides you want to tell of it and share with everybody.
Okay, well, I'll do the short version because it can get pretty long. So I was placed for adoption as a baby when I was 6 months old. My parents adopted me through foster care, and I was adopted. I'm from the East Coast. I was born and raised in Delaware, and I'm the only adopted child in my family. But because they are biracial and I am also biracial, I look just like my siblings, except I am the shortest thing to them. No one in my family is under 6 foot tall. So clearly there's something up with me because I'm 5'2". But besides that, no one, growing up, I never, um, I never felt out of place with my family because I looked like them. Um, and it wasn't until, maybe 13, 14, I kind of just had some identity questions. But I never really felt adopted. My family was always very loving. I had a great childhood. Just it was really good. Um, and I always knew I was adopted. That was always a part of my story. My parents, always told me that. Um, it was just, since I was born in the 80s, there was no such thing as open adoption. So it was always closed, and I never knew anything besides what my parents knew. But I always had that feeling of wanting to know more. And I've pushed it back. And then when I always say 19 or 20 because I never remember. And I was in college. I played Division I soccer in college, and I found myself an unplanned pregnancy. So it was, needless to say, it was like the worst time of my life because I was devastated. I thought, I was invincible and, it couldn't happen to me. And, I was living that college life that I thought I wanted. And it just really took me by surprise. And, I thought my life was over, but it really wasn't. Um, and I told the birth father, and we agreed on adoption. And we both, we just both weren't ready to be parents. And then through a series of events and God's hand in all of it, I placed my birth daughter with family friends that were actually looking to adopt right when I found out that I was pregnant. And I mean, her dad used to change my diapers as a baby. That's how, close we were. And his parents and my parents were great friends. And he was from my hometown. And so it everything worked itself out. Of course, it was the hardest choice I've ever had to make. But it's also led to some of my greatest blessings because of that. Um, so if you stay with me, so I got pregnant, placed my daughter. 6 months later, I actually found my biological family. And after I had my daughter and placed her, I really had this ache in my heart to find them. And so I had some adoption papers, and it had my birth mom's name on it that I had never seen before ever, and so I looked her up on the white pages on Google, and there was like 7 different names, and I called the first number, and I ended up calling my grandparents' house 45 minutes away, and, um, and I still can't believe, people search for years and years, and, they can come up empty-handed so many times, and I didn't really have time to think about it because I ended up calling my grandparents' house that first phone call, and, a couple hours later, my grandmother called me back, and she said, "I just got off the phone with your mom. When can you guys meet?" And I was like, well, I was like, I hadn't even talked to my parents about it. No one was home. It happened so fast. I didn't even have time to process it. And that actually was the weekend of Mother's Day, 2009. And it's been a blessing ever since. I went up there to my grandparents' house, and I took along this photo album that my parents put together for me after college, from the time that they had me up until college. And I showed them my childhood pictures because I don't really have a good memory. My mom says it's because I was a micro preemie. Um, and so I promised them that I had a really good childhood and that I had a really great life. And my grandfather says that they remember seeing me in the newspaper in high school, for sports, because being only 45 minutes away in a small state, sports, like kind of top to bottom newspaper goes. And so it was really special. And now I know I have another piece of the puzzle, with my biological mom's side. And it's kind of interesting because my adoptive parents and my biological parents all have the same occupations. So um, my biological dad and my adopted dad are both girls' high school basketball coaches in my state. And so when I played basketball for my dad in high school, I played against my biological dad's team and sorry, didn't even know who he was. And it was, when I found that out, that was nuts. And then my biological mom and my adopted mom were, both nurses as well. And now my biological mom actually works at the hospital that I was born at, as a caseworker. And so it's kind of neat that she still is connected, to our story. And every time I go back home, I visit them, and we have a really neat, connection. And she didn't marry my biological dad, but she married another really great guy. And I have a half brother and half sister. I'm the oldest. So that's different for me, but they welcomed me with open arms. So I was really lucky because as an adoptee, um, it can go either way when you're searching for biological family. And I had to be okay with that because people heal and people, grieve in their own way. And it could have ended up where, she would have been happy that I was alive, but she didn't want me a part of her life. But thankfully, she did. And now, with my own biological daughter, we are 12 years in to, placement, and I live in the same state as her. And we have now for, just a few months because I moved back from Germany. And I've seen her more times now than, I have probably her whole life in just a few months. And it's been, really great. Um, because I didn't have that growing up. I didn't have that piece to me. And so I'm thankful that our adoption is open. It's also a little scary because, at any time she could ask me some questions that are uncomfortable. And um, so I'm not looking forward to those, but I'm very grateful that she is a part of my life and my children's life, and that they know about adoption, that it's just a part of their mom's story and their story, and that they don't mind sharing and talking about it. So that's kind of my story in a fast nutshell there. I know that's a lot of different pieces and long, but yeah, it's always been a part of my story, the good and the not so good.
No, I love it. That's absolutely beautiful. So, your relationship with your parents and then your biological parents, is that a good like do they have a good relationship? Were your parents supportive of you finding your biological parents? I mean, obviously you said they didn't quite know and everything happened so fast, but has it been good in that aspect?
It's been good. I think because it happened so fast, it kind of took some time to process. They don't necessarily, the four of them don't necessarily have a relationship. They have relationship through me, but when I visited home for the summer this past summer, I invited my birth mom for my birthday to my parents' house. We have family dinner every Sunday, and so it was the day we were celebrating my birthday, and it was just really special because her and her husband and my half sister came, and it was just really special because that was only the second time that I've spent my birthday with her and my family. So it just I think it felt very complete. And my parents have a lot of appreciation for my birth mom, and they love showing her that. Um, for the gift they said that she gave them, that that she'll never have any idea fully the extent of how they have blessed you know um, our lives. And I love that because I feel the same way about Talia's family and the blessings that have come from me placing her, and just being able to have that relationship with her parents that's just so special and so unique. Talia's parents actually were unable to have any children, so all three of their children are adopted, but I'm the only open adoption birth mom that they have in their life. And but the relationship I have with her mom, while I was pregnant, it was very special. And I really tried to include her in every aspect, even though we lived across the country from each other, but they also got to be there when she was born. And I really wanted that for them, um, because I didn't know how common it was, that infertility in general. And I wanted that to be special time for them.
Oh, I love that. And it's so beautiful. And every single person that I've spoken to, like birth mom, adoptive, adoptee, whatever, I feel like, which is why the people who do adopt or who do give up for adoption, they all have one thing in common, and it's just purely love and happiness for the person that is involved. And it makes me want to cry every time because it's such a special thing. And being a fellow adoptee like you, like you've got both sides of it to where, you've done both, and it's just amazing. I love adoption. I think adoption's amazing. I mean, I can't even imagine like you being on both ends, which I totally forgot. It's just amazing where you have been adopted and blessed, but you've also, you know, placed a child too. And it's just wonderful. It's just magical. I just love it. I'm really obsessed. And I love that you have such good relationships with everybody. That's one thing that I have really, really, with the couple birth moms that I have spoken to, they all have had really good relationships with the adoptive families, which is so amazing. And I
And
love
I mean,
it.
don't get me wrong, because unfortunately, there it's open adoption is not a um, uh, I don't want to say law abiding. It's not. There's no contract. Um, there is no legal binding saying that they have to stay in contact. And unfortunately, I actually have also many friends that are birth moms, and their promises were broken. They don't have a relationship with their biological child. That it's so heartbreaking, because research has shown over the years what um, what benefits come from open adoption, and having that relationship. Doesn't necessarily mean it's better, but it can be healthier. And that's as adoptive parents, they have to get over a lot of their fears about being open, and it isn't. And it's exactly what you said. If it's done right, it's all about love, and you can't have enough love for a child, is what I feel like. If it can be healthy and open, um, then that's where it lies. It's more family.
And I didn't realize that until I talked to another fellow birth mom who said
Mm,
that exactly. She said it's a verbal contract, like,
yeah,
and nothing is bound. It's not like you don't go to the courts where it's like with, parents who split up and then they have this, parentship that I can't even think
yeah,
custody of the things, like it's nothing like that. She said it's 100% verbal. So she said that, yeah, it's a very scary aspect of it because, and all the birth moms I've spoken to, they don't want to go seeking and take that child back and do all those things, but they do want a relationship, which being an adoptee, I get it. I totally get it, because vice versa, if that relationship can be there, of course, why wouldn't you want it, and to learn more about yourself, because I think that's amazing. So what have been probably some of like the
oof.
toughest? I mean, you're on both ends about being, I mean, you kind of explained and adopted, trying to find yourself. But what about, placing as well?
The hardest, I feel like it was hard because I had such a great experience with adoption. My childhood, my growing up, my experience with adoption has been great. And then when I had to come to terms with making that choice for my own daughter and breaking my own heart for her, knowing that I made that choice for her and she had no say in it. And it was the same for me, that I had no say in it and that I was doing it to someone else. I think that is the hardest thing to come to terms with, that she didn't choose this life for her, that she didn't choose to be separated from me, but I chose that for her. And almost a year now, I've been doing trauma therapy, and it has been so healing, and it's been so amazing um, to be able to do that and to be able to work through those things. And I mean, as an adoptee, I have, attachment issues and separation issues. And to work through those traumas that come from adoption, I highly recommend it, for anyone. I think there's such a stigma around mental health, and that it's so negative. But I'm so grateful in the past just few years that people have shined such positive light on mental health, and um, that is nothing to frown about. I think everyone needs to go to therapy, no matter if you were adopted or not. And it's been really, really healing for myself as an adoptee and as a birth mom, um, to work through some of that trauma, those false thoughts I had for myself, that I had um, about being a birth mom, and the shame and the blame and the guilt. So it's a lot to work through, but it's so, so, so rewarding.
No, that's beautiful. And one of the other birth moms they interviewed, she said the best thing that she did for herself was found a support group
Mm,
that knew like fellow birth moms. Because she said there's the therapists and everybody, but they can just tell you how to feel, which is still great. But she said being around actual people who know your exact feelings and exactly what you've gone through is probably, and she said to this day, these women are still like her best friends. They may not talk a ton, but they know on like certain dates, or if there's certain hard times, of things that they've gone through with like, feeling those feelings of the child that they placed for adoption, they can reach out to these women and they're there at a drop of a hat to be there for them. And I just think that's wonderful and amazing.
it's a part of post placement care that actually be should be a standard, and for a long time it hasn't. um, you place a baby for adoption and you go through an agency, and this adoptive family gets this baby, and you leave the hospital empty handed, and that's it. That's, unfortunately, it's not necessarily true, but that's all anyone cares about, is that baby. And so it's been a very big disservice for birth moms for way, way too long. And I'm so grateful for the support that I found years ago, um, just through social media. And then I was able to, I think it was 2014, I went on a birth mom cruise with like 15 other birth moms. And just like you said, we are lifelong friends, and they are, because they get you. They have actually walked in your shoes and can understand you like no one else does, as well as just like adoptee to adoptee. No, you can't understand if you haven't lived it. And having that support is really, really beneficial and really um, can be life changing for people.
No, I love that. And then also, I know you were talking to me about this earlier, but will you share about your friends, that thing that your friend's nonprofit that she has?
Yes. So my friend Ashley Miller, Ashley Mitchell, with she's on Instagram at Big Tough Girl, but she is the founder of her nonprofit, which is Lifetime Healing Foundation for birth moms. She provides education and post placement care for birth moms after they place a baby for adoption. And she is going into the trenches. She goes to adoption agencies around the country and teaching them how to do ethical adoptions, teaching them how to do post placement care for these birth moms after they place, because it should be standard, and teaches hopeful adoptive parents, education about open adoption, about fear, about guilt, about shame, um, just so many things. She is absolutely amazing. And if you can share, if you can donate, if you are in the process of adopting, follow her, get some good education. Be ready though, because she is honest, she is raw, she will tell it like it is. And it is just, it's so very much needed, because of the falsities around adoption. And um, she keeps it real.
I think that's how it needs to be though. Like I think, and it's the exact same thing how you're talking about mental health. It just needs to be real. People need to be real, honest, and raw about it. So it's not something that people are like, oh my gosh, it's just, it is what it is. And I think that's wonderful and amazing that she is that way, because we need more people that way.
We
Because that
do.
way you're telling the truth. You're not sugarcoating it, because it's not easy. It's not all, magical the whole time. It's just not. And so I think that's wonderful that she's that way. Love that.
Yeah,
Anything else?
she's great. Um, no, I just, I love adoption like you do. It's hard. In a perfect world, there wouldn't be a need for adoption. But you know what? There is. And I try to make the best of it. And I try to remember just how blessed I am because of adoption. And yeah, it's hard and bumpy and messy, but it's for life, and it's a journey. And I feel like I'm in a much, much better place than I was, 10 years ago, um, with it and all that it entails. And I'm grateful for the lessons that it's taught me and the things that it's brought me to and the people that I've met because of adoption.
I love it. And I seriously, like, this has been my favorite thing about interviewing all different parts of adoption is I always learn something new when anytime I speak to somebody. And that's like my whole purpose of this is to educate people that, adoption can be like hard as hell to go through on any aspect, but the blessings and the outcomes of it. That's okay. Like, seriously though, like, it's just, and I have such a passion. And your friend, I think that's amazing because that's where I want to head. I want to open up a nonprofit adoption agency to help families come together with birth moms. And then I have a fellow birth mom who's like, as soon as you do this, she wants to do exactly what your friend's doing. She wants to get on board and do everything possible to take care of those birth moms because she is one and she knows the blessings that have come of having a tangible support group, not just a piece of paper or, here's a pamphlet. No, I don't know if they do.
No.
You know what I mean? Like something more than just, okay, good
Yeah.
luck, bye, you did this. here we are as a group for you, and we love you, and we're here for you, because I can't even
And I mean, it's
like, and
come
I
a long way. Adoption has come a long way since the 80s and the. I mean, my own birth mom was placed into a pregnancy home while she was pregnant with me. Like they don't do that anymore. It's not. It can, there's still shame and guilt involved, but it's not like that anymore. And it's come a long way. But we also have such a long way to go to service these birth moms with support and love um, and mental health afterwards. But not just them, adoptees. I mean, I'm 33 years old going to trauma therapy when if I just only think what it could have been like if I was 14 or 15, doing the work. But I'm just thankful I am doing the work and that there are people and programs out there to teach therapists about trauma and to heal that parts of us.
No, I absolutely love it. And I love that you're so honest. Thank you. Like, seriously, because I think the more honesty the better, because yeah, it's hard, and it's always hard when you have to, do that and work on yourself to find that healing, and it does not matter how long it
Right.
takes. I mean, it does not matter, like you said, like, grieve however you need to grieve and whatever and all those good kinds of things. So yeah. Any last words or bits of advice for anybody or anything?
Um, I don't think so. Just know that adoption is beautiful and it's messy and it's complicated and it's hard and it's raw, but it can also bring so many blessings. And as long as you get that education for yourself, for your family, whether you're adopting, whether you've placed, or whether you're an adoptee, I just think it's education is so important. Knowledge is so powerful on all sides. And I think it can be a beautiful thing if it's done right.
No, that's perfect. And seriously, thank you. Seriously, thank you so much for taking some time out of your morning to do this for me and to teach everybody. I absolutely love it. So if you guys have any questions or comments or anything, please comment below and I can get in touch with her or send her how to get you to get in touch with her, all those good things. I know she's an open book and she can do anything and everything to help, because seriously, she's amazing that way. So seriously, thank
You're
you
so
so much for
welcome.
taking